Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be working on this 2005 GMC Envoy. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Several issues going on, some that are just routine maintenance and others are more serious. So I have it on two 6-ton jack stands, and I'm also leaving the jack here as a third point. We have the front end. This is the lower control arm. This is the upper control arm. Got a ball joint here and a ball joint in here. Then you have the spring over shock. Here's the knuckle. You got the brakes, the rotor. Right here is the tie rod, the rack. So the rack is here. Here you can see the tear in the boot and the fact that it's throwing all the axle grease everywhere. So that needs to get replaced. Here are the steel lines that go to the rack. Your ABS sensor right here. So it plugs in right here. And like I said, one of them or both of them may be rust jacked. What rust jacking is, if you're not familiar with that term, the rust will form between the two parts, and then as the rust forms, it expands. And the slides seem to be frozen, so that's not good. All right, something you're gonna want to do before you jack it up like I did is you're gonna want to break that nut loose as well. All right, so there's the knuckle loose. Take that off, set it aside. That does not want to move. Okay, so we got the strut or spring over shock. Got that out. Still got to get the axle out, but in order to do that, need to be able to get to the back there. So we'll go under and start loosening the rack. Okay, so on this vehicle, thankfully, if you take out this bracket right here, the rack will fall straight down and out of the vehicle. You don't have to fish it out. So we have some 21mm and some 15mm bolts that we need to take out. So we'll start doing that. May or may not have to drop this pan here. We will cross that bridge when we get there. Loud noises. Alright, those don't want to move. But we have ways of making you move. All right, ratchet and a breaker bar. Got them broken free. Let's see if they'll come out now. There's one. There's two. And it started coming down. Now all we got is the other side. I think one bolt. I think there's one bolt up in here as well that needs to come out. So, and then this whole section should just drop right out and expose the rack. Well, there may be 6 bolts up there. I'm not sure. I'll see. You'll find out when I find out. And let me tear the other side down to where the driver's side is. And since you watching that, I'll be back when I get that side torn down. Okay, so have all the bolts off of this cross member piece, which is underneath the rack, and so we should be able to just tap that out. Alright, so it's down, and I do need to remove the 2 bolts from that shield, so let me get that done. Alright, and there's that. Roll that out of the way for now. Alright, so now I have a flashlight. So, like I said, here's the rack. I think it was leaking right here on the end of the rack. And then underneath this rubber boot, there's a bolt that connects the steering shaft to the rack, and there are, on the other side of the rack, there's 2 lines, the high pressure and low pressure lines that go into the rack, and then the combination steel rubber lines are what I'm also replacing. That. Where did I leave the camera? Where did I leave my people? Let my people go. What did I do with them? Oh, there they are. There's my people. Okay. So we're working on getting these power steering lines out, and some bright engineer, and I use that term very loosely, just thought it would be a good idea, see if I can get you in there, to stick a bolt right under the harmonic balancer. If they put it 3 inches this way, would have been right in that big open space. They also put a bolt that is underneath the fender here, so you can't get even a mini 1/4 inch ratcheting socket on it, and you can't get a wrench on it because the pipes are in the way. It's in between the pipes. So yeah, good job, guys. So looks like if I remove this plate, so these 2 bolts here, I can reach in and grab the bolt, which is right here. You can see it right here through this hole. So it holds this bracket, which holds the two power steering lines. So the high pressure and then the low pressure coming back from the cooler. So I'll be back when I get that off. Okay, so I'm fairly certain that the engineer responsible for the bolt placement in this thing was hurt some way as a child by a mechanic. Basically, I can get a 10mm wrench up there, and I can get it onto the bolt, and I can turn it about 1/8 of a turn, and they put a very long bolt in that position. And I could have done with a little tiny thing, but no, the thing is probably almost 1 inch long. Because I got a socket up there, but you can't get the socket wrench to stand up because it hits the harmonic balancer. Like I said, if they just put it right here, not very far over, it would have been great. But they didn't. So, back at it. Victory is mine. I mean, look how long that thing is. Ridiculous. Okay, so then you have to pull the windshield washer tank out. That's two 13mm bolts that tie it down. One is down here, and the other one is up here on the right up on the fender, right up next to the fender. Then there's three 13mm bolts on the power steering pump. To get those, you have to reach through the holes in the pulley. So in order to move the pulley, you take a 3/8 ratchet or breaker bar, put it into the tensioner, you push it towards the driver's side, which will release the tension on the belt, slip the belt off the pulley, and then you can spin this by hand so that you can line the holes in the pulley up with the bolts to get your socket through there to get them loose. So here's the power steering reservoir, and you have down here you have your high pressure line coming in to the bottom, and then on the back you have the low pressure return coming back into the tank. So I'll show you those once I get to those. Alright, so I thought I'd try without actually removing the pump. You can see right down here, this is the nut that holds the high pressure line on. I was able to get a 17mm down on it and get it loose. And then the low pressure line has those spring clips similar to this one on the upper radiator hose. So you squeeze those, and then it allows you to hopefully get the hose off. So see if I can do that without removing the pump. That would just make things a little nicer. Okay, so you can see I got So you can see I got that clip slid down. Got that clip slid down the hose. And now I'll take this pair of needle nose. It's originally for removing spark plug boots, but any port in a storm. Hopefully we can just grab that hose now and give it a twist and some downward pressure, and there it is. So there's those two hoses out. Oh, here's the high pressure one. Like I said, I was able to break that nut loose and unscrew it. So that's all that taken loose. So that's all that taken loose. And so I just about have the power steering lines ready to come out. I have two more little pieces of bracket to get loose, and then I can fish these things out. I'd like to thank the gentleman, but I forget his name right now, but I will put a link in the description, or shout out, or however I can do with what I have available. He had recommended removing this upper control arm, which then allowed you to slide the power steering lines over the top of the tower. Most everyone I watched, they were all cutting the hose into little pieces, and I'm like, well, that's wonderful to get it out, but that does nothing to put it back together, because everything's going to be in the way and you have no idea how to fish it through. So like I said, I'll put a link in the description. If I find it before I edit this video, I will make mention of it. Okay, so one of the new power steering hoses came with the new seal for the rack. The other one has two little O-rings, not the seal. Okay, so the low pressure line came with a new seal that has a steel washer, and the pressure line came with O-rings. So I pulled the high pressure seal that was in the old rack out, and it's the same diameter as the hose. So I guess it's a new design. Hopefully it works. We'll see. So I gotta get the steering knuckle onto the rack, and get that bolted on, and then fish the rack in, and then fish all the power steering lines in. I got them all out finally, and get this thing reassembled for my wife. Okay, putting the steering knuckle back on, putting the steering shaft back on. That gets torqued to 30 foot-pounds. this boot slides on. Alright, so that's the rack together. Apparently it came with inner tie rods, so I don't need to put these on. Description didn't say it did, so I got them, but apparently I don't need them. And I have the rack set similarly, so what I can do is I can screw on the outer tie rods and get them close to where they belong. For those of you that don't know, this is what an inner tie rod is. It's a short little piece that screws into the rack that is underneath that boot. So that screws into the rack. I did a video where I placed them on my daughter's Ford Sports Track. And then this here is a locking nut. And you screw your outer tie rod into the inner tie rod. And this is what they use to change the alignment. So they'll break this nut loose, and then they'll turn the inner tie rod, which will either use more threads or less threads, and move it in or out to align your front end. So going to just do a guesstimate here on it. So that's pretty close. And this will screw into the rack. So I have the mounting holes lined up, I have the boots about the same, I have the ball joints the same. So I'll come down this end and I'll put the other tie rod in. Again, we'll just get it close, and then we'll screw it in. compare our two. Looks like it needs to come out a little bit. About there. So give it a preliminary lockdown. Just as so it doesn't go flipping all over the place when we're trying to slide it in. Done with the old rack.